You are love. You are love. Soak that up. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Reverend Karen Fry, your Associate Minister here at Center for Spiritual Living Dallas on this beautiful end of July Sunday morning. Isn't it great?
Yes.
We are in store for so much today. In fact, this is such a special service that our teens are joining us this morning so that they can participate in the service as well. We've got an installation of our beloved Reverend Vince. We started it at the first service, and we are fully installing him at the second service this morning. Dr. Peter's doing the message this morning on breaking the chains that binds us. There's a cute little thing that she adds to the service, which you will see, and other special surprises that I'm just not going to reveal at this point. Yeah, no. So, I'm wondering if you are a first-time visitor, if you will reveal yourself. We have a gift for you, so I'm asking you to raise your hand.
I'm Petra Weldis, Senior Minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, and we're delighted that you found us here on the web. You can find our Sunday services on our website by every Wednesday. And we love that you can look at us online and explore these spiritual teachings. Feel free to explore our archives. It goes back a number of years with lots of special topics and amazing speakers. You can also sign up for our email news, My Daily Words, and my blog, Spiritual Living with Dr. Petra. If you're looking for a spiritual community, come visit us. Or if you're just in Dallas, drop on by. We'd love to give you a hug. Welcome home.
So we're coming to a very sacred moment in the life of this particular service and of our center altogether. We have the opportunity in a very ritualistic way to install a new member to our ministry. And we do this when we install practitioners and when we install ministers. And so today at this service, we have the opportunity to complete the installation for our beloved Reverend Vince Bethia. So Vince, if you would please join us up here on the platform. Front and center, young man, right here. So Reverend Vince came to us about a year and a half ago, walked through these doors, and many of you may know that he is an ordained Catholic deacon in the Catholic tradition and has been for 30 years, and was involved with the bishop's program, interfaith program, and attached to the bishop's office both in Atlanta and then here in Dallas. He also heavily involved in pastoral care, chaplaincy work with the Dallas Police Department, which he continues to this day. And in all of that interfaith work and all of the ecumenical work that he did through his work with the Catholic Church, that really exposed him to lots of other traditions, lots of other faith walks, and opened his heart and mind to other possibilities. And so a year and a half ago, and he'd learned about metaphysics and New Thought, and a year and a half ago he walked in here and offered his heart and his soul and his love to this ministry. And so as you know, he's been working diligently with us, and in the meantime, he's been studying like mad. As you know, we have quite an extensive ministerial program, which pales in comparison to the extensive study that Reverend Vince did for his Catholic ordination. But he did have to do some studying, get himself up to speed with our language and some of the things that we teach here, and then passed his written exam with flying colors at the beginning of the year. And then he passed his oral exam. So exactly the same thing that our ministers go through, that our practitioners go through with a written exam, with the oral exams. He took care of all of that, passed all of those, and is now fully affiliated as a Center for Spiritual Living religious science minister. And we are now installing him officially as a staff minister here, although he's been serving in that capacity for quite a while. We will begin with this, at this moment, this will begin his walk toward ordination. He has been ordained for 30 years with the Catholic Church, and so we are working diligently to have that ordination affiliated also in a very short period of time, as opposed to the way in which we normally do it at Centers for Spiritual Living, because Reverend Vince has more than completely evidenced his call to ministry and service and heart. So we're working on how quickly that ordination will also be recognized. So right now we are installing him as an officially affiliated, licensed religious science minister, and very, very, very excited to do so. Every time we come together and we do an installation like this, we have our practitioners stand here in the sort of hoop of consciousness here, because what you see here between the ministers and practitioners is the ecclesiastical ministerial arm of the center, and we join together in holding that that for all of you and being in service in that way for all of you, and they get to hold this space for Reverend Vince as he finishes taking his vows and steps into this ministry. The minister of religious science acts in a threefold capacity in fulfilling the ministerial office. He serves as minister to the community and a spiritual guide to all who come to him for support. He collaborates in partnership with the spiritual directors and staff and has charge in the performance of ministerial functions.
He serves as an official and accredited teacher in our Spiritual Development Institute. Since every minister is first a professionally licensed practitioner, he serves always as a practitioner with prayer and spiritual mind treatment when the call is made.
And Reverend Vince is here to give his gifts as a staff minister, but also organizationally, serving with the spiritual directors and staff in service to the purpose and mission of Centers for Spiritual Living Dallas. Reverend Vince is continuing to provide his fabulous leadership and administrative and organizational support to Sacred Service Ministry, pastoral care, circles of life, and Sunday production, and whatever duties and responsibilities are mutually agreed upon that he is willing to take on. You just never know what they might be. All right, so we are presenting to our community of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, Reverend Vince, to continue being installed as an official staff minister at this center. So we're going to continue on with the vows, Reverend Vince. Do you dedicate yourself to your own deepening spiritual insight, that you will seek to constantly be aware of spirit within all people and see the spiritual truth in every situation?
I do.
Reverend Vince, do you promise to provide spiritual leadership faithfully and lovingly to this community of people, and to seek ever to be an example of spiritual living and loving kindness?
I promise.
And Reverend Vince, do you dedicate yourself to your own spiritual practice and spiritual growth, that you may be continually living in closer communion, knowing the divine as you, thus being a beacon of hope and a champion for the possibility in everyone you meet?
I will.
So we have a beautiful stole for you. If we can bring that out. Just ask. Thank you. And so with this stole, Reverend Karen and I, we're going to place it around your shoulders. And with this stole, we are going to formally and officially install you as a staff minister here, officially affiliated with the Centers for Spiritual Living. And may I present to you Reverend Vince Bethia. Love you.
Thank you.
So please do join us for cake in the Pankey Hall afterwards. We'll have a little opportunity to celebrate Reverend Vince, and please do honor.
I am the heart of love. I am peace. I am joy. I am harmony. I am love. Take a breath. And here's what I know is absolutely true, that this morning, right here and right now, each one of us is the center of love. Each one of us is expressing God through our presence in this space, joining together, coming together, learning together, loving together, being ready to be love. I bless this knowing, and together we affirm it by deeply and meaningfully saying together, and so it is.
Open your mind, unfold your heart, relax your senses, feel every part. 'Cause you ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love's growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Release your cringe and love without waiting, slowly unhinge. 'Cause you ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart, 'cause love's already who you are. It's already who you are. Yeah, yeah. So lift up your voice, lift it up now, let it be heard. Yeah, let it be heard. And tell me your story, and tell it to me, and don't leave out a word, not a word, no, no. 'Cause I think I've been there too, and I'm a seeker just like you. And you ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. You lay it down, lay it down, lay it down, 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 unbound. Lay it down, 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 down. Lay it on down, down. Yeah. Unbound. Yeah, yeah. Unbound.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning? Looking good. Me too. Well, I'm so happy to see you this morning. So grateful that we're here together to finish releasing the chains that bind us. Whee! So you all saw my picture on Facebook, I'm sure. And the fabulous question was asked, will the real Petra stand up, please? Who's the real Petra? Who's the real you? That's the question, isn't it? Who are you when you say, I am? Who are you when you say, Spirit as me, moving as me? Do you live over here as me? Do you look over there? Or you're looking at me? Yes. So, today we're going to begin with a fabulous poem by Richard Garrett. Richard, will you come up here, please?
You know, for some time, I wondered. For an even longer time, I pondered. Until eventually, I deliberately decided to step outside of time and imagine. And once I did, I realized the time is always now, and then it happened. What happened is that I have now come to believe. Yes, I believe. I believe God to be the one omnipotent, omnipresent, self-expressing, all-loving, all-knowing, all-encompassing source of all existence. I believe that God is all of it just as I'm a part of it, striving to recognize the God within more of it through the use of my faith, love, and persistence. Yes, I believe. I believe that life is but a circular symphony of infinite, limitless possibility, having absolutely no beginning and no end. I believe that life merely creates new forms with a cause to evolve, to expand, to contract, yet only to bounce back, to extend again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I believe. I believe that the entire universe, multiverse, omniverse, and everything within it is an outward expression of God seeking to experience itself. Kind of like a cosmic dream of polar extremes and all things in between, in which Spirit's presence is always felt. And this presence I believe to be our essence, which will make us all complete, unique, yet connected, being that our source is the same. Yes, I believe that God is all around within the depths of the profound, yet also upon the breath of the profane. See, I believe that within this realm it's all relative, yet the source from which we came remains fundamentally unchanged. And I believe that our spiritual birth is the true initiation into our life's work on earth as mystic masons in the midst of creation, congruently constructing our temple. And I believe that the perceived complexities of our destinies are much more so, oh so simple. See, I believe and I tend to agree with Shakespeare when he wrote that to be or not to be is the question. And I believe that for us to be all that we can be only requires a perfect effort, not perfection. Yet being that we are truly Spirit's reflection, don't you agree that mustn't we first possess, then express within this reality the mental capacity as well as the spiritual audacity to proclaim that God is not my judge? See, I relate to God as my maker, my creator, my friend, my very nature, my chance to, my choice to love. And please believe me when I tell you that I proclaim this not from my vanity, but more from my sense of identity. For I believe that we expand and understand our humanity, the more we explore our divinity. And while I remain within the rhythm of this rhyme, I now define this term divine as being the Spirit of God expressing itself through us as us with an irreversible, impersonal compassion. And when I still my mind, I tend to find God is also within those moments of deep, quiet, spacious silence, and can only be heard when our awareness is free from distractions, when we are freed from our attachments. And indeed, for those who so happen to disbelieve, well, I urge them to please go within, or at least go look within your most sacred and holy text with patience and closely check. And I suspect that if I'm correct, you will detect, or better yet, you will discover that long ago it was written. Just as I hope my words shall forever serve as a verbal circle of lyrical, spiritual pulp fiction, containing the supreme mathematics of oneness, which through a process of addition subtracts all division, by co-creating and cultivating a spiritual awakening which transcends all religion. And so it is my psalm's intention to promote our own intuition as being our eternal internal compass. So now, with the inner knowingness of a Sufi Muslim or a Gnostic Christian, I faithfully listen as my own intuition now urges me to expand this poem's circumference, which shall somewhat sum up some of my earlier comments by stating that God, love, life is but a splendid adventure, a joyous journey, a myriad of magical moments upon a divine quest. But all that God is, my mind at this time cannot completely fathom, and no mere words will ever fully express. So I guess at best that I believe and once again choose to profess that I am, we be, cause it is, God is. See, within my frequent travels from this relative realm of density and duality up to the highest realms of absolute reality beyond belief, there's one great truth that I've come to actually know, and that is that God, or whatever you so choose to call it, well, it just simply is. It just is. God is. I am. And most definitely, we are. Thank you.
First, we had Chuck, and then we had Rashad. It's crawling with men. It's lovely. I love it. And Andrew's on the piano. He's pretty good, isn't he? They all are. Wow. Do you think I'll be as good? Yay, thank you. For the rest of you, that was not a rhetorical question. I'm standing up here after following that fabulous poem, and I'm waiting and searching for inspiration. You don't look at me, but you're my inspiration. Do you think that's true? Where do you think inspiration comes from? Intuition, the understanding, the truth of what we are. How many of us walk around wondering, will they notice me? Am I good enough? He was really good. Will I be as good? That's because we're living over here. This is where we're living when we ask those questions. We're living from our human self, our little self, mini-me. I would be what we call the big self. And you see, often we stand over here and we look for our big self, waiting for guidance and inspiration, as if we were two separate things. And when we live over here, do you see, we live in this world of form, this identity that seeks to explore and experience life, but is also very bound by the limitation of this form. Doesn't even have legs, for goodness sakes. She's not going to be very good at mountain climbing, is she? And so when we live over here and we look for the truth of who we are, we tend to look outward, don't we? We think there's a big self that we're going to become aware of, that there's this presence that moves through us, we hope, and we seek guidance and inspiration from somewhere. And it's because we're living our identity here as the human, limited construct. That is the earth suit. This is the earth suit that we have put on to experience this life, the space-time continuum, the world of form, the experience of expression, of joy and love in a physical, tangible way. Do you see, we've taken on this earth suit, and we can take this earth suit off, because this is not the I that I am. This is the I that I am. And when we really break the chains that bind us, when we shatter the illusion, do you see, the whole point is to learn to stand here and recognize that we move in the world here. This is our world of form. Ernest Holmes says we are the outlet for the divine. We are the hands and feet. We are the way the divine is made manifest in the world. And this here, our big self, is the individualized expression of the divine. And it's always already there, because it has clothed itself in the earth suit. And when we seek to be in alignment, when we say, well, I am that I am, and I speak from the I am, and I live from the I am, when we do our spiritual mind treatment, when we understand the truth of who we are, do you see, we begin to move in the world like this. And we are in alignment, and spiritual truth comes out of our mouth, and it's how we operate in the world. Mostly, we feel like this, don't we? And we have this illusion that we're separate. And we look to become connected. And we do our spiritual practice as if somehow we were going to create a connection. But do you see? It's always already there. There's nothing we're making or changing. We're recognizing the connection. We're recognizing the truth of who we are. We're recognizing the I that I am, that is the animator of our life. It is the one life made manifest as the I that I am. When Jesus said, when you see me, you see the Father. Do you see? This is the ultimate illusion. This is the ultimate illusion that these two things are separated, and that somehow we have to magically bring them together, when in fact all we're doing is waking up. We're waking up, we're becoming consciously aware of the presence that, as Rashad said, God is. And as Chuck so beautifully sang, that love is simply present, and we are unbinding our illusions. Do you see? It's here that our programs live. It's here that our outdated and faulty programs live. It's here that we worry about the world of form and titles and possessions and are we good enough? Do you see? Those questions don't even exist when we stand here. When we stand here, those questions don't even make sense. Because the I that I am is the individualized expression of the one, and it flows through this lovely and rather imperfect form. And I spend lots of time learning how to maneuver my form. And if I were a really good puppeteer, I could make you think she was alive. And how much time do we spend being the puppeteer, wanting for other people to think something about us, that we are something, that we're really alive in some way that is recognizable on this level. When in fact all we have to do is be who we are. And we show up however we show up, and it's beautiful, and it's magnificent, and it's funny, and it's silly, and it's great, and it's wonderful, and it's not, and it's perfect, and it's imperfection, isn't it? And we learn to maneuver our spacesuit because we are learning to discover the space-time continuum, and we're learning to explore what does it mean in consciousness. Do you see? Consciousness manipulates this space-time continuum and expresses through it. And in these last few chapters of 11 Days in May, J.D. Messenger, that's been our companion book, J.D. Messenger, he talks about the world of form and the world of light. The world of form and the world of light. And he says we come from the world of form and we live in the world of light. Jesus said, I am in the world but not of it. I am in the world but not of it. And so there's an interesting conversation that he has, J.D., in this book, and he talks about, well, which is better, which is more important, which is more necessary, and there's a whole conversation which I hope that you have seriously explored. And ultimately, the answer, both are required. Just as we understand that the flip side of the absolute nature of spirit is the physical manifested world, that spirit without the physical world is not expressed. It is purely absolute, undifferentiated being and possibility for something, but it isn't anything yet. It's only something when it becomes form, when it blossoms into the bird or flies as the hummingbird or blossoms into the flower or becomes the planet or the quark or everything in between. Do you see? That is God expressed. There are two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other, just as you can't have one without the other. And when we realize that we are animating the physical form, do you see, we can lay the earth suit down. And it is not of its own alive. But nothing happens to us because we are the immortal, deathless, changeless beings, the I that I am, that we were in the beginning and will be for all time. And so then we take on another form, another suit of some sort. Because one without the other doesn't work. And so we have remembrances of angels and beings celestial. Ernest Holmes says there are bodies celestial and bodies terrestrial because we are form and we are so much more, and we go beyond this life experience and we are certain that there will be expression there because one without the other doesn't work. Do you see? We are not purely undifferentiated reality. We are expression made manifest. And so what is there to fear? You see, this is the ultimate illusion, this sense of separation. Ernest Holmes says there's nothing to heal but the sense of separation. There's nothing to heal but the sense of separation. And often we think about that as the sense of separation from each other. Here I am, I'm all by myself, I'm alone, nobody loves me, I need to fix myself, all of the blah, 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 blah nonsense that we do. And then we say, oh, well, I have this sense of separation from God, so I have to meditate and feel the commune with the one, and I have to experience the divine as me. And that is true. All of those things are true and necessary, but I would submit to you that this is actually the most significant sense of separation that we live with. That there is this thing called the little me and the big me, the human self and the I that I am. And that somehow we feel as though those are two different things when they are, in fact, the I that I am expressed as the me in the world. This is the sense of separation that we have to heal so that we can be in the human realm when we have a fabulous meal, glass of wine, lovely relationship, work in the world, plant trees, cradle babies. Do you see? And then we have ourselves, and we have the expression of who we are and our gifts and talents that we want to express, and they move through that vehicle. And we live with one foot in either place. The question, the real question, is where is our identity? Where is our identity? Is our identity here? And so now we live in this world of limitation, this world of form, this world of titles and need to be as good as, or comparisons, or whatever all of that is. Or is our identity the I that I am, that actually knows the truth about what's going on, that actually understands? Do you see? And then the questions become immaterial. This is the place from which we speak spiritual truth. This is the place from which we do our affirmative prayer, our spiritual mind treatment. This is the place when we are confronted with the limitation of the human experience, that we step into the reality of who we are and we move from here. We're not trying to get to it. Do you see? We are already intimately connected. We actually can't be separated. It's where are we standing? Where is our identity? We teach this in all of our classes. We do this in all of our work. Fundamentally, this is the primary illusion that we are shattering. We sent 9 teens and 2 advisors to camp, and I think I've been to camp years and years and years ago, and I know they had exactly the same experience, the illusion that there's something wrong with each one of us, the illusion that we're unlovable, the illusion that we have to get over ourselves, the illusions that we don't know who we are. And when our teens go to camp, they come home transformed because they've had an experience that is not limited to this. So we're going to invite a couple of our teens to come up. I think Eric and Seth are going to come up and come on up here and talk a little bit about the experience. And maybe we'll have a moment to chat. This is Eric and Seth. Come on up here, you guys. Hi. So, yay. Hi, Eric.
Hi.
So, Eric, tell us, what was the coolest thing about camp?
In my opinion, probably the coolest thing about camp was the really spiritual experience, the thought that people who just kind of met and acted like they knew each other for like years. And it was a really great thing to see because they were so close looking.
And how was that different for you? How was that something new for you?
Well, in a regular community, like a regular school I go to, a lot of people aren't always like hugging. They kind of are there to get their work done, and a lot of times they don't take time out of their day to go work on their relationships with people and go hugging them, and it was a new experience. I liked it.
Did you?
Yes.
Did you like it? You're going to go back?
Sorry?
Are you going to go back?
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Good. So let me ask Seth. So, Seth, what was the most transformative experience for you of camp?
The most transformative experience was definitely the workshops. Our workshops are planned by teens and with a little adult leadership, but it's almost completely teen-led experience with teen experience coordinators, and it's amazing to know that we're capable of this, and these workshops change lives. You get to let things out that you thought you'd never get off your chest. You get to help other people let those things out. It's actually quite amazing and touching.
Yay. So how are you different now that you've come home from teen camp than you were before you went?
I find that I'm a lot more empathetic when I come back. I find that I see a lot more good in people. I see hope. I see, throughout the year you see people do bad things, you hear about bad things, and you get a little disappointed in people. But you go to camp and you see the huge groups of people that are just perfect. They're amazing people that love to help, love to be there for everyone else, and it restores it.
Yes, beautiful. Eric, is there anything else that you want to say about camp?
Actually, the first day I actually got there, I walked into the amphitheater, and that was actually the first time I saw everyone really kind of hugging and everything, and I kind of felt a little bit stuck, and I didn't really know what to do because I didn't know anybody. And then all of a sudden, someone came up to me and hugged me all of a sudden and said, "Hey, I want you to come meet some people with me." And I said, and that was kind of a new experience for me because, well, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to say about camp?
One of the most amazing facts is you go up there and you literally walk up to somebody, you say hi, and you've got a new best friend. It really is that easy.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Seth and Eric. Will all the teams stand up so we can acknowledge all of our teams? Thank you so much. Yay. Yay. We heard from Mila and Emma at the first service. We heard from them about their experience. And do you see that? And why do we not hug and love each other in the normal course of affairs? Because we're living here. And we don't feel lovable. We wonder if our hair's right, or if we're got the right degrees behind our name, or whatever it is. Do you see? But our kids, when they go to camp, what is that experience but the ability to see the truth of each other, to see into the heart of each other, and discover that when you say hello, you have a new best friend. You know, I've been thinking a lot about this in the last few weeks as we have been confronted with what seems to be an escalating chaos in the world. And once again, escalating violence in areas that perhaps we all had hoped things were beginning to move towards peace. And when we are confronted with that, like Seth so beautifully said, isn't it easy to get caught on the things that people do, to become disappointed? And when we do that, do you see, we are caught in the world of form. And all we're seeing about each other is this need to be liked, to have what keeps us safe, to make sure that I have mine, so therefore you can't get it, or to take yours because I think I need it. You see, all of those reactions, all of that motivation, all of that way of being in the world is all living from the world of form and thinking that that's the only reality. And do you see that just as we are in the process of discovering that that's not true, that that's the illusion that we have to shatter, those are the binds, the chains that we have to unbind, become unbound from, just as we are doing that in the individual level for us in our own lives, we also have to do that collectively. We have to, as a culture and a people, as a human race, we have to do the same opening, the same spiritual recognition that we are not the form in which we live. We're not the color of our skin. We're not the country that we came from. We're not the language that we speak. We're not the religion that we practice. We are actually the divine beings of love and light making ourselves manifest in the world. And there's a plethora of forms of people, just like there are so many possible flowers in our garden, aren't there? And do you see, when we get caught in the chaos and we find ourselves becoming afraid, or we begin to say, well, somebody ought to do something about that, or we start taking sides, or we feel ourselves getting frightened by it, we have become confused. We have succumbed to the illusion of the world of form. Now, this does not mean it's not a real experience, but nothing gets fixed at this level of consciousness, does it? We can't change the problem or fix the problem from the same level of consciousness that started it, Albert Einstein reminds us over and over again. We actually have to stand in a new place in consciousness. And so as we move in our own lives and heal our own lives, do you see? And then we have the opportunity to actually look at these things that are happening in the world and to see them not through these eyes, but through these eyes. And to speak about them and to stand in witness of the spiritual truth and to claim this spiritual truth, not only for ourselves and not only for members of our community or those people that we love. Remember, Jesus tells us it's easy to pray for our friends and loved ones. But praying for those we consider enemies, now there's a spiritual practice. And we don't have to consider them enemies, but we can just look at that chaos and anyone or anything that frightens us or that we begin to have opinions about that really cause us to get caught in it. Do you see? When we do that, we are seeing it from these eyes. And then we can only work in the world at this level, just like it happens in our own lives. But when we can see it and speak about it and pray about it from these eyes, from the I that I am, now when I move in the world and I work in the world, you see, my movement in the world is in alignment with the spiritual truth. And I move in the world out of a place of confidence and peace and a willingness to be the hands and feet of the consciousness that I am choosing, that I am standing in. Otherwise, I'm just the hands and feet of more confusion, more limited ideas, more fear, and more chaos. And so we are called to this shift in identity, not only in our own lives, but for the benefit of the whole, to see with these eyes. And you can see with the eyes of the I am. You do it every time you pray. Every time you pray. That's why we teach a particular form of prayer. It is teaching us how to move our identity from here to here, that we may speak and live and act out of the place where God is. So I invite us together to join in prayer. So I just invite you to breathe. And with that human breath, we consciously and deliberately, it's like switching a channel. We consciously and deliberately move out of the human experience into the divine reality, into the I that I am, that place where spirit is making itself known. With that breath, we switch our identity into the truth. And it is from here that we can remember that there is actually only one life. There's only one love, one infinite power and presence. And it is the very source of all life, the source of all being. It is the ground from which creation springs. It is the wellspring of love and the effervescent hope that bubbles through all of creation. And it is that which is the connection between and among all people everywhere, all beings everywhere. My life and your life, and the life of those who are persecuted, and the life of those who are suffering in war, and the life of those who are perpetrating. All life, one life, the same intimate, infinite reality seeking to express itself. And so collectively now, as I know this truth with each one of us in this room, let us affirm and declare that we are no longer confused by the illusion of separation. We are no longer bound by the illusion of fear. We are no longer filled with the chaos that we see in the human reality, because we stand in the spiritual truth. We stand in the love and the light of the divine beings that we are, and we call it forth. We call forth peace on the planet. We call forth joy for all beings. We call forth the abundance and the wholeness and the reality that love is the impulsion, and we demand that it begins to express itself in new ways that we've never seen before. And as we stand in this place, we are no longer confused. We release our fear, our doubt. We release any words that contribute to this consciousness, and we stand firmly grounded. This is our reality. And from this reality, we shall not be moved. And we will demand it from the universe. And we will participate in all of the ways that we can in making it so. And because we stand here, we are contributing to the collective raising of the vibrational rate across the planet, the raising of consciousness itself. And we expect a healing. And from that place, let us together say, and so it is.